No, you looking super cute. You looking super cute. All right. The boys are back. The Flashing People podcast. It's your boy Scott Stockton, your boy Elmer Escobar with TNK Photo. The podcast earlier in this week was we were back to rubbish again, talking nonsense, talking bullshit. Don't think we mentioned one thing photography, maybe one or two, but it was like very tiny. So we're getting back on the grind today. We're going to bring you all some real photography news. We're going to talk about a lens that both he and I think is the ultimate lens, period, probably, not just wedding. And a few other little pieces of shenanigans and photo news. But Elmer, what have you been up to, Daddy?
No, and just to kind of recap what you're saying, I think that one thing that we try to do is to make this podcast pretty broad, so people that aren't into photography can, or at least kind of into photography, can get into it and get into what we're talking about. But I think last time we went off the rails a little too much, so we're going to try to have a little bit more of a regimented podcast this time. That being said, pretty much the only thing I got into this week, besides a ton of editing, is we did an engagement session. And the reason I wanted to bring it up is because we did it at a location where he proposed to her, which is, it's wonderful. That's really nice. But when we got there, and I even looked at it on Google, it was more of like a basic park. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't really too much like grand about it. But I get it. It's special to them. So I'm like, okay, what can we do with this? And one thing that I always mention is like, it's not what the location looks like. Our job is not to walk in and go, oh, well, this isn't like what we normally shoot at like a beach or some, grand place. So I'm not gonna do anything. No, like fuck that. Like our job is to make sure that this place looks good regardless. And that's exactly what we did. Is we shot it as best as we possibly could. We found some cool creative shots, and they were super happy. So that was like a nice reminder to me that even if you don't get the most ideal epic location, you're a professional. That's what you're there for.
Yeah, I tell people all the time to pick places that are special to you guys. Like, you're talking about a proposal, just talking about engagement shoots, like places that have meaning to you. Any photographer can just show up at any park with roses and shit like that. But to pick something that has some special meaning. But then I do get, even when they followed my advice and I show up somewhere that has shit lighting, I'm like, gosh, damn it. Why the fuck did I have them do this? But no. Yeah. If it has meaning to them, it's got to be that place, right?
Exactly. And that's kind of like what you run into. It's like, okay, it's wonderful that it has meaning, but it's not what we normally shoot. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to compare that to like Walt Disney Concert Hall or, Laguna Beach or whatever, but again, they were happy. That's the main thing. But as photographers, you're going to run into those situations. And one thing that I always say is don't let that shit make you feel like, oh, well, I guess I'm going to. No, you're not phoning it in. They hired you to make sure that you give them the best possible photos. The location is irrelevant. Figure it out.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then proposals are tricky anyway, because you can direct someone as much as you can for like the best time to do it, for lighting and stuff like that. But sometimes they just they'll pick a time, like they'll pick high noon at Disney World, surrounded by a shit ton of people. You can't use any flash. You can't do all that stuff. So like sometimes you're just kind of forced to do the best with what you're given in a proposal.
With that, yeah, with proposals, it's definitely more the elements are going to dictate how it really goes. And that's one thing that I try to think about is if I can't control 25 elements, I'm not going to focus on those things. Like there's nothing I can do about that. I can try to mitigate it and hide them as much as I possibly can. Or if we told her, if we told them to make sure that she's facing a certain direction and she's not, once he's getting down on one knee, she's not paying attention to us anyway. So I'll reconvene and move to like an area where I can get a better angle. But there's only so much you can control. That's why, if I'm being honest, proposals are not my favorite. There's way too much stress, and it just doesn't feel like you don't feel in control of the situation as you do in an engagement or a wedding or anything like that. So proposals would be a lot lower in my like priorities of like what I like shooting. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah, the same. Like I hate, and I've done them, but I hate doing them in places like Disney World where there's a shit ton of people. It's usually always high noon. You're not allowed to shoot there, really. Actually, you're not allowed to shoot there. So you have that anxiety going off of possibly getting kicked out and shit like that. But yeah, they're not my favorite. But you shot 2 this week, right? You shot that one, and then you shot the one down in what, 1,000 Step Beach or whatever it was called.
Well, yeah, no, that was over the weekend. That was the proposals. The engagement I shot is where he proposed. So that was a different one. That was on Tuesday, I believe.
Okay.
But yeah, the other proposals, you know, they were more standard. What I do like sometimes when like they hire or they get their friends to like do a setup, because that does make it a lot easier. Because if there's a setup, then you know exactly where it's going to be. As soon as they walk in, that's, you know, in that area, that's where the action is going to happen. So that does make it a lot easier than, hey, I'm doing the proposal. Can you hide in the bushes and make sure you don't miss the shot, but don't move from that area so she doesn't see you? It's like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah.
One or the other. You know what I mean? Like, you can't have everything here.
Yeah, and God bless those friends. The friends that give a shit and like, you know, lay out like a picnic blanket or do whatever kind of shit that they're doing. That's salt of the earth people right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't.
I would have done that.
Mm-hmm.
I would have done that for you, Daddy.
Thank you, Scott. You should tell
Yogi
that
Bear style. I'd be out there with a blanket and a picnic basket, little roses.
You would love that.
Then you have my ass hiding in a bush to watch, be over there crying. So we may have some scenes coming in. So my mom just got here with the kids from Red Lobster.
Mm-hmm.
I've sent her a text message with instructions on being silent.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see how well these 3 morons can adhere to those instructions.
I said the same thing to Angelique. I said, hey, we're recording the podcast, just so you know. Basically, heads up, don't run down here making noise with the dogs. I had to lock up Tiny in her playpen today, just now, because last time was just ridiculous.
And throw away the key, because Shorty is the demon.
My poor tiny girl.
El Diablo. Maybe on the page, you know, we put up some videos today. Maybe on the page, I'll put up a video of Tiny growling her head off when I came in the door for the first time last November.
I think you should. I think you should definitely include that.
She was not happy with me showing up.
No, but she's getting better. She's definitely she's a year and a half. Like, she's finally getting to that age, you know, where she feels more confident in the area. Like, she's not as food aggressive with Tank, because there were some times where like they got a little rowdy. But anyway, let's get back on track. So we wrote a couple of things that we wanted to talk about, and I think at the top of the list is going to be that beautiful 24 millimeter lens that you picked up. That you were so anxious about. You called me and you said you were waiting outside for the UPS man for 2 hours. Go on. Would you like to tell the people?
Well, that's a 2-part story. So I was waiting outside for the UPS man because the day before he pulled some lazy shit on me and just stuck a sticker on the door that said, "Showed up, nobody here, I'll come back tomorrow." When I was here the entire fucking day, the dog didn't bark, the cat didn't meow, the doorbell didn't go off. This asshole just hit me with some lazy stuff. So I was like, not again. I took my ass out there in that direct sun with a lawn chair and just kept it cooling. I had a bottle of Topo Chico. I said, he not getting me today.
Yeah, so Scott patiently waited. Now, here's a story that I have. I remember once, and we'll go back to part 2 on yours in a second. Nikon had sent me the 200 f2 that I wanted to try out when I was with Nikon at the time. And I wanted to try this fucking lens so badly, and I had a shoot that was 3 hours away. So I had to leave extra early that day, and it was supposed to arrive that day. Luckily, this is what I was telling you, on the UPS app, it was showing me where he was in the neighborhood. So I said, fuck that. I found him. I gave him my ID, and I said, hey, there's a package in this truck. It's for me. Would you mind if I grab it? Because I got to run. And he was cool with it. He's like, oh, yeah, here it is. And then I took it with me. Yeah,
some of them. Is it all the mail? Like whoever was delivering mine, I think mine was FedEx. I couldn't see where the driver was at. I would have loved that.
It's not, they don't always do it, but there are times where like it does show you where the truck is. And in that situation, I just wanted to play with the lens. So I took it. Now that one I returned because it was just a loaner. The 2414, are you keeping it or?
Piece of shit. Sent it back almost immediately. I was so angry about it. Like it's like you hear about some of these older DSLR lenses that have really soft focus, and I mean the focus was so soft. It was like damn near unusable. And so I shot it on Daisy. I didn't dare take that on like a paid shoot. I shot it at elevation at church, blurry as shit, and so that went promptly back in the box and back to B&H Photo.
You know, it's interesting that you say that about the DSLR lenses. I noticed that if like when I look at like older photos or whatever with the DSLR, there were a lot more misses, and it wasn't like back focus or anything. It was just soft. Like it was like these cameras now are just stupid how sharp they are. So was it an old generation lens? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I had it adapted. But I have other adapted glass. Like I have the Tamron 35 Prime. That's adapted and it's always sharp. So I was like, well, then surely some more native glass with an older EF mount that's from Canon should work better. And no, it didn't. The Tamron 35 is way sharp, like tack sharp. This thing, piece of shit. So congratulations. I played myself, sent it right back. Money back in the account. It's all Gucci.
But here's a nice segue, right? So what are we talking about here with Canon? What did you tell me earlier this week?
Oh, yeah.
Go on.
So this week, there was rumors out on CanonRumors.com that they've opened up for third parties to make lenses.
Oh,
so I was worried about that at first because there was a big stink about it.
Uh-huh.
Like right after I switched to Canon, like somebody tried to make an RF lens. God, I forget the name of it. Some small shit company. And shout out to them. Maybe be a sponsor on the show, please. But they,
we got them.
We got them. We got some money coming in now. But no, they got hit with like a lawsuit from Canon saying you can't make RF mount lenses. So
what a bunch of twats. What the
Yeah.
hell, man? Like every other company is cool with, other companies making lenses for them because in the end it works. It helps them. For example, you were thinking of going back to Sony just because of the 35 to 150 that Tamron doesn't make it for other companies. So like, that's what I'm saying. Like if that company made it for Canon, you'd be like, it's a no brainer. I'll stick with Canon. But instead, these guys want to, cannibalize everything and keep it to themselves. Well, fuck Canon is what I'm going to say, but continue.
But also, God bless Canon. Beautiful RF lenses.
Because of the colors that you can't get in fucking post-production. We know damn well we shoot raw anyway. Go on. I'm going to get hot under the collar right now.
Yeah, and we don't have to go into the conversation I had with you the other day about missing Sony's colors, so we'll just move right past that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Canon 24 sent right back. Get fucked. Until they make an RF version. If they make an RF version, maybe I can revisit that. But
so now
it's not even.
I'm sorry, but okay, now that you have now that Canon is going to open up to third party stuff, now you plan on staying with Canon?
I don't know, because how long is it going to take these companies to start making these lenses? Because think about how long it took for them to start doing it for the Sony E-mount. It took years.
Yeah, and we know Daddy is not patient.
Oh no, my patience is so shit. My patience is so bad but man, I'd do a backflip if rumors came out about Tamron dropping that 35 to 150 for Canon.
I mean,
backflip.
It is the best lens. I should have brought it down, but I didn't. I brought a smaller bought a smaller shoulder bag. So I usually use the Peak Design, the 15-inch, the bigger one. But I got a smaller one because I'm like, with the 35 to 150, we're only carrying two lenses. So it's that one and the super wide. So it's like carrying a smaller bag is, instead of carrying Mr. Wagon over here, it's just a lot easier.
Now, like when we were in Solvang, is that how you pronounce that in California?
I think so, yeah. And nobody knows, but that's it.
You had brought just that one camera and the 35 to 150, and Daddy had that big ass Peter McKinnon bag on with all his shit.
You had a turtle shell, is what you had.
Yeah, I looked like a big ass tortoise, and that was also That was 43 pounds ago. So I looked like a big obese tortoise.
We started this podcast completely incorrect. Hey,
Yeah.
Scott, how's the weight loss going?
I'm going to cue up the applause, even though we're not going to hear it. We just talked about this. I gotta reach out to these people. This shit ain't working. Go ahead one more time.
Yeah. So Scott, everybody, welcome to the podcast. How's the weight loss going? How many pounds are you down?
Yeah, down another pound. 43. No big deal. Who's counting? But yeah, we're gonna keep it coming. More pounds. It took them a while. Yeah, 43. They couldn't hear it. They thought I said 4.3, but no, it's 43. Mm-hmm. So I broke the plateau because we had plateaued by Tuesday, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we got that going. Man, your boy put in like 3 workouts today.
Damn.
Yeah, I did cardio in the morning, did weights, and then went for an hour-long walk.
Nice, dude. Yeah, keep that going.
Yeah. Getting it in 20 more pounds. It's about to be wild out here. I might not. 20 more pounds. I might not wear a shirt. I might wax my chest. It might be a different kind of scene in Waxhaw, North Carolina.
Summer's in 2 months, right?
I think, I'm pledging 20 more in 2 months.
All right. Everybody, let's keep them accountable. 20.
The show is sponsored by Red Bull. Thank you, boys, for sending us some money to do the podcast.
I haven't drank caffeine in like a month.
Now, how does your body feel with that?
Honestly, I feel exactly the same.
Feel better?
Yeah, the only thing is I don't get jittery. Like I just feel, just fine. I mean, I still get tired like at normal times that I normally would, like nothing really, really different. So it's like I don't miss it. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't kill anybody in the process of, weaning out of it.
Yeah, I think I've actually been limiting mine too, shockingly enough, as I just open a Red Bull. Like I've been
what time is it?
Down to like it's 9:33.
It's out of control. I would be up all freaking night if I did that.
And I might be. I got some photos to edit, and I might be up all night. You never know. But like I've been just going wild on these mineral water. So like this is Topo Chico. Now it's all about the bubbles for me. It's got to be hard, extreme bubbles. The bubbles on these things will blow earwax out of your ears. Like it's intense upstairs with Topo Chico. So I mess with them. I've been drinking nothing but that stuff all day.
Yeah. I mean, I try to stick to just regular water. I feel like I don't know, the science behind it, but I just feel like, I don't know, maybe it's bubbly water, too much of it can't be good. Don't they say it fucks up your enamel or something like that?
Oh, for fuck's sakes. That's the last thing I need. Is that real?
I think we'll Google it, but I think nothing's going to beat just regular water, I feel like. So that's why I just stick to that. But I thought it messed up your enamel.
I feel like I feel like that's going to depress me if that's real. Somebody chime in.
It just took away the last bit of happiness that you had, Scott. I'm sorry.
I got rid of one drink, then I'm trying to get rid of another kind of drink. I like this one. I'm going to have to get rid of that one. Pretty soon your boy's just going to be drinking water. Plain water. How boring is that?
Oh, no.
Plain water is boring.
All right, let's move on. What else do we have to talk about? So you're not going to go back to Sony after all? Maybe.
No, well, not at the moment. Like, so we just rolled into kind of like a little intro about talking about the Tamron 35 to 150. So we can dive into that and talk about why, even though I left Sony, I still believe that is the very best lens that somebody could have for wedding photography. And as we said, just for like our travels, like it's really just the ultimate lens. I mean, 150 really is as far as you need to get. 35, sure. Would it have been nicer if it went to like 24? Sure. But 35 at f2 is plenty enough to get some wide shots or take in a scene. It doesn't have to be wedding photography we're talking about. It could be travel photography. You and I have both done reviews for the Tamron 35 to 150. On YouTube, we were both in the Tamron magazine forum. You were on the cover, so we swear by the lens. It's just an amazing lens, and Sony and Tamron really knocked it out of the park with that one.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like when they first announced it, because I didn't know about their 35 to 150, because they used to have a 2.8 to f4. So I didn't know about that. And even that, like I'm going to sound like a bit of a snob, but I'm like, I don't want something that's f4 because I've had a 24 to 120 or something like that, or 105 f4, and I didn't like it at all because I know, I've been shooting with 2.8 lenses almost from the beginning. So I can feel it, and I'm not a gear whore, you know what I mean? But I can feel the difference when I'm not shooting at 2.8, when I know I could be shooting with better conditions or where it would look better. So when the 35 to 150 came out, I'm like, holy crap, like that's a hell of a range. And then when they said f2 to 2.8, I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like that's all you need. And to touch on what you were saying about, not only is it good for, what's it called, just for weddings, but like you can do it with street photography. You can use it for like, cause that's great. You know what I mean? Like when I've taken it on vacation, that's all I've needed. Cause 35 is plenty good if you want a fairly wide shot, and 150 is a telephoto look. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like when we were talking about last week, like what was it? The 24 to 105. I'm like 105 is just not enough range. Like it's not enough telephoto. It doesn't look telephoto. It just looks like a 70 for all purposes. So like that extra reach makes it look like a telephoto background.
Yeah, you're right. The biggest thing for me was, and I shot that thing for multiple weddings. Like I just remember not ever having to grab another lens. Like I shot details with the damn thing. I did a flat lay, and we all know how I feel about flat lays, but there was one there, so I shot it. I mean, just everything in the getting ready room, like you use it for like 98% of a damn wedding day. The only time you don't need that is if you're going to like your ultra wide for like a creative shot. But it was just like it was just nice to not have to go to and from your bag.
And I'll be honest, dude, like let's say, for example, our second photographers, if all they had was a 35 to 150, I would feel comfortable letting them shoot. Because the super wide shots, that's more of the stuff that we do as leads anyway, or at least, with the style that we shoot. So for us, if that's the only lens you came with, I'd be like, all right, you're good to go. And if you need the super wide for like the room shot or something like that, grab it from me for five minutes, get your wide, room shot for the reception, and then bring it back. So it's like that lens could cover basically everything that you need. So there's not really too much to say. I would say, if you guys have any more questions, if other photographers are watching this, shoot us a question, leave a comment. Because there's not really too much more to say. Like just pick it up, and your back will thank you, and your wrist will thank you.
Do a lot of people on your team use it?
Pretty much every single person, I would say almost every single person that shoots Sony, which is almost everybody on the team, has the 35 to 150. There's only like one or two that have the 24 to 70 and 70 to 180 combo, because they had those 70 to 180 already, so they didn't want to make the transition. But I'm just like, hey, whenever you're ready to sell it and get the other one, go for it. But I don't force them.
Yeah, no, it's the perfect lens. So I'm hoping, and I'm gonna reach out to our girl at Tamron and just see if she has any ideas on if they're doing something. But I don't think so. I think it's going to take forever. It took a long time for like Sigma and Tamron to get E-mount stuff, and Canon and Nikon used to make fun of Sony, but
yeah,
I just think it's going to take a long time.
Well, we'll see you back with the Sony family real soon. We'll be here.
I wouldn't be shocked. I ain't got no damn patience with a camera system.
Oh, I know. So, fun thing, you guys don't know, I learned that Scott had switched over from Sony to Canon when we were shooting a wedding together. And I looked over and I go, what the fuck is that? And he's shooting with a white lens. And I go, Sony doesn't make white lenses as far as I know. I go, what the hell are you shooting with? And it was a wedding we were shooting together. And you're like, oh, dog, I forgot to tell you. Or I didn't want to tell you.
Yeah, I was like, oh, shit. I'm like, how am I going to get by shooting this whole wedding without him knowing that I'm shooting a Canon?
And fuck
but
me.
Sony does have white lenses.
It took me like 4 or 5 hours until I finally realized. because I looked over. It was during wedding party, and I go, "What are you shooting with?"
Yeah. Them colors were nice, though, huh?
Get the fuck out of here.
They were nice.
Yeah, they were nice. I matched them exactly to the Sony color, so it looked consistent.
Sony has white lenses. They're 70 to 200 white.
That's what I was gonna say. I as far as I knew, but I had a feeling. Yeah, the G Master, right?
I wonder why they do that. Is Nikon the only one that keeps it black?
So here's a fun story. Nikon keeps it black, except for their 70 to 200 version 1 that I always freaking liked the white lens. So in 2006, when I, pretty much got into photography, I remember seeing the white one at B&H, and you could order it, the Nikon white lens from B&H. And I didn't order it. I got the black one. I don't really know why, but I always liked the white one. So when I broke my black one, I said, well, fuck it. Let me look for the white one now. And I found it at a store in Japan. So I found it on eBay. And so I ordered it, and I was shooting with a white Nikon lens for the last 6-7 years until I got rid of the whole system. But yeah, they usually don't make it. It was like not a domestic one. It was an international copy. So yeah.
I remember seeing that piece of shit in your bag at that Indian wedding here in Charlotte.
Yeah, but we made some fire with it.
That thing was a clunker. Well, yeah, I mean, you could make fire with like a magnifying glass pressed up to your body. I mean, you're going to be cooking with anything. I had an issue earlier where my cat. Oh, wait a minute. Are we done with Tamron?
Yeah, I think we covered everything. Just go get it, guys. It is. They're not paying us to say this, but just go get it. Anyway, you were saying your cat. What happened?
And it's worth switching systems because I'm thinking about doing it again, but that's a story for another day if that happens. Well, like the cat was just going wild up in here, like meowing about everything. So like it usually means she wants food, but like Shorty had food, Shorty had water, and I looked into the litter box, and there was some stuff going on in there. There was some doo-doo, and she had used the litter box, but like I analyzed the size of her body and the space that was left to put more stuff in the litter box. And I was like, she's got a few more. She didn't have a few more. She sprayed in the corner in this office, and she took a shit in 2 different places in the house. Now, she usually does this out of disgust, this animal. At one point, litter box would be clean, and she would still do that. And I found out it's because I wasn't showing her like enough love and affection. But I've been cleaning messes, so I got to go. I guess I got to go get some more litter. Your boy's been lacking in the kitty cat department.
See, you're more patient. Well, the thing is, I'm not generally a cat person. I love all animals. Let me, preface it with that. But I don't understand cats. I don't think I ever will. And I know I just alienated half the fucking audience, but I don't get it. Tiny threw up on my shoulder over the weekend, though. That's the part that you cut me off at last time, so I didn't get to say it. Oh. So remember how I had to be up at 5:00 in the morning?
Yeah.
Drive down there. 4:44 a.m. I see Tiny just kind of walking around. I'm like, oh, fuck, here we go. And I know when she's going to throw up. Blah, a little bit here and mostly on the. I'm like, motherfucker. At 4:45, here we are taking the sheets off, taking them downstairs, washing them. Basically doing what you were doing with your cat. But that's how I got woken up. And I wasn't even mad because I went, well, fuck it. I had to be up anyway. So, all right, Tiny, thank you. I wasn't mad. It's out of her control.
There's just a little song and dance. Like when you see that the dog is doing those familiar little things where it looks like they're about to throw up, where you have to bolt to get them off of furniture, get them away from a carpet, get them on the hardwood, and let them so if I see Daisy like hunching over like that, I'm like, oh shit. I'm like Flojo. I got to grab her, get her to the wood floor. It's scary times.
See, I run for paper towels as quickly as I can, or a towel. But it was 4:44, man. I was just barely waking up. I'm like, just let it happen. I'll clean it up after. And it's when she eats grass, too. When she chews on grass, I'm like, and I even said that the day before, I'm like, you better not throw up tomorrow morning. Like, because I saw her chewing on it. And of course, I manifested it, as some people say.
Yeah, no, Daisy eats I mean, some dogs eat the dumbest shit. Literally, Daisy will eat cat shit.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Like if somebody leaves, because the door where the litter box is has this little latch thing that prevents Daisy from getting in there. But if somebody leaves that unhinged, boy, she be in there snacking on them turds, and then you got a throw up situation. Like it's just mess on mess.
You know who doesn't do goofy shit?
What's that?
Tank. He's the perfect dog. He's honestly like. There's a reason why we named the company after him. He is just the perfect boy. He's right here, laying down peacefully, just waiting for the podcast to end.
Tank has sense.
He is like a human. Like he really is. Like he really is very perceptive. Like he'll pay attention to and whatever energy we're having throughout the day. Like he just fucking goes along with it. It's like we're excited. All right, we're excited. We're relaxing now. All right, we'll relax. Tiny, on the other hand, is just out of a cannon from the morning until we go to bed.
I don't know if y'all could hear that, but the Red Lobster crew just came back. So there was some shenanigans in the background. I guess we'll figure out if we can hear that once we release the podcast. So
speaking of Red Lobster, any stories about vendor meals?
I can't remember if I shit on this wedding venue the podcast or two ago.
You don't have to say you don't have to say the name of the venue. You can just talk about the food.
Okay. It was horrific. It was, I actually tagged them in it. I tagged them. I did a wedding there a year ago and tagged them in it because I started reviewing vendor meals. The absolute worst vendor meal I've ever had. It was like it was prison food. And like you at a place and you're shooting wedding all day, you're expecting something. It was like hush puppies and like a chicken tender. Didn't say tenders. This was a singular chicken tender. They didn't ask like what you wanted. Macaroni. It was like a kid's lunchroom meal.
Yeah.
And then you walk down to the reception. Katz is down there with full blown steak, medium rare, getting their protein in real nice, and you up there eating that prison food. And I did say up there, and this place is in Gastonia, North Carolina, and that's all I'm gonna say. But do better.
You just want all the smoke. You want to say the venue? I can see it in your face, but we're not gonna do that. I won't let you do that.
I mean, I tagged them in it once, so
yeah,
they know how I feel.
See,
yeah, shit show.
For me though, like I don't give a fuck, dude. Because when I'm eating at a venue, now if it's a really good meal, of course, like I'll enjoy it, But I'm not really gonna enjoy my meal until I get home anyway, when my brain can shut off. So when I'm working, like just give me whatever the hell. I don't care. I just need something to keep going. And that's one thing. Like that's why I never bitch about the meals because I go, I don't give a fuck what it is. Just feed me something so I can keep going. And then when I get home, I'm going to have a beer. I'm going to relax. I'm going to eat a good meal at home. You know what I mean? Like, that's my perception of it.
You're out of control. I need options. I need options. I want a menu. I want somebody to open up the napkin, set it in my lap. Maybe, pour my drink for me. I need some options because if you on like a certain diet, macaroni and cheese and a chicken tender is not going to solve your problems. Like a keto diet or something like that. Well, I'm carnivore, Daddy.
I mean,
that's why I got this. That's why I got this physique, this newfound physique.
Down 43 pounds, right?
I mean, can I get a menu? I'm not asking for much. But also, like, they have so much damn food downstairs that all these people, leftovers on leftovers. Why couldn't they got a little bit of that steak?
You're not wrong, dude. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong. It's just like, for me, I think that setting low or no expectations is my best way of just not giving a fuck. Like, there's very little things that I really, really put that like have to be my way in life. Most things, I don't really give a shit, dude. Because when I get home, I'm going to have a good meal. That's the way that I look at it. I can control what I eat at home. So when I get home, I'll have something good, or I'll get some In-N-Out on the way home or something like that. But when I'm at work, I can't really control that shit. So whatever, give me whatever you want. Let's keep this going. I'm here to work. I'm not here to eat. Let's go. That's the mindset that I have.
I'm like, for me, it's just the principle. Because truth be told, if they gave me some of that food from downstairs, I'm not going to eat it all.
Mm-hmm.
And because I know I got to, at that point when you're eating, you got to go set up lights or stuff like that for the reception and start getting ready for speeches and all this stuff. So like, I typically don't eat much of the food, whatever they serve me anyway. For me, it was just the principle of having somebody bring me prison food in a styrofoam plate.
Yeah, I mean it's not the best, but I'm just like, whatever. Like, I'm gonna eat later. Sometimes I don't even eat it. Like, sometimes like they'll bring something and it's just like it's not really appetizing, or it's like I'm also lactose intolerant, so if it's like very heavy cream or something, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not eating this. Like, I need to finish this job feeling okay. So, I don't know, dude. And I always carry snacks too. And this comes from being vegetarian for 5 years. So I never relied on having an option for myself because I understand I'm the outlier. The world isn't vegetarian. The world eats meat. So if I didn't, I can't be over here bitching that you didn't bring me something because I'm that special. It doesn't work that way. So I would always bring like snacks and, nuts and whatever I can, eat like a squirrel all day. So that way I wouldn't get hungry.
And now, God bless you, you came back to the dark side. Wow.
Powered by a little bit of meat now.
It moved again. That was very nice.
All right. So we got vendor meals. That was something. What else? Why Scott came to his senses and is coming back to Sony. Nope, we already did that, but you're not doing that.
He's partially coming back to his senses.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. Oh, here's one. Inspiration boards. Would you like to take this one?
This is going to come off bad.
Oh, I know. That's why I'm letting you. I'm letting you fall on the knife first. Go ahead.
If somebody sends me a Pinterest board, I say, "This is beautiful. I love this. Thank you." Don't even click it. Don't even take your Pinterest board, take it, all of it, and shove it right up your ass. Because I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want to do anyway. So that's how I feel about Pinterest boards. That's how I feel about vision boards. Daddy ain't got no time for that. I got my own vision, and that's how we're going to do it. What's your take on it?
Now, mine is a tame version of that. Because here's what I tell them. I go, okay, if you're going to send me images that you really like, pick 3. Pick 3 photos that you must have. So these photos are photos that are non-negotiable. For example, first look with dad, a certain angle of them, or them holding hands or something like that. Like, that's a must-have shot. So give me 3 photos that you can't live without. I'll definitely make sure to either recreate those or make sure we get those shots. Beyond that, I would rather give you something unique that other brides are going to be pinning on their walls instead of giving you something that 1,000 other people other photographers have already redone. Because there's a lot of photos that we get in those boards that we get that are always in those boards, right? So every bride is going to put those on. If we just keep recreating those shots, you're just getting photos that other people took already anyway. I would much rather give you those 3 must-have shots and then give you something unique for the rest of the day. And I think that's a very fair way of curtailing expectations also.
Yeah, and you know what, though? It's like, for me, it's like a slap in the face. Somebody wants to go to your website. They see all the photos. They say, "Oh, I like this." They check out your social media. "I like this. I like this." And then you're going to go out and create some horseshit Pinterest board with hundreds of photos of inspo that you found. Well, go hire these cocksuckers. Like, I'm also shooting a wedding day. I don't have time to keep going back to your fucking vision board.
And that's another thing too. And that's what I always tell them. I'm like, I would rather be in the moment and capturing the emotions and capturing what's going on here instead of staring at my phone and copying somebody else's work. Because it doesn't feel right to me to just copy somebody else's work the entire day. And 2, we're not having fun here. It doesn't feel organic. You know what I'm saying? Like now we're just looking at a list and going through a list. It feels like we're working in an office.
Yeah, see, part of the problem is that these skeezers, they go out there and they buy these they buy the Cosmo magazine or Southern Bride or whatever magazine, and they have that one article in every magazine that says what you should be asking and requesting from your photographer. Make sure they have dual card slots. Make sure that, and they have this long list of horse shit. Don't let your photographer push you and bully you into taking the photo styles they want. Create this massive ass fucking Pinterest board, send them that, and then hold them to that. All these magazines can eat fat ones. And you know what? I'm going to say this. I'll name the magazine. I don't even care. Southern Bride Magazine. Shitheads.
How do you really feel about Southern Bride Magazine?
We should tag them in this too. I'm gonna cut this one up as a reel. They reached out to me. They were like, "We really like this wedding. We'd love to publish it," and blah blah blah. And at first I was excited. I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." They sent me an email to a person. I send them an email. She says, "Can you send us the gallery?" She says, "I like this image. We like all these images." Blah blah blah. Then sends me a price sheet. She goes, for half a page, it'll cost you $600 for a full page. And I just wrote her back, you got to be kidding. You kidding, right? I'm not paying you to help you fill pages for your magazine. And you guys charge money for that. So you're getting paid. I got to pay you. And and I know somebody, a friend of mine, that had an article and he paid, and he said he didn't get no business from it. Well, so I'm gonna pay you money and not get business for it.
And the way that you described it, it sounds dishonest. Where they ask you to fill out this, do all that, and then they tell you that it's going to cost money instead of telling you out the gates, "Hey, this is a paid thing. This is how we do it. Would you like to be a part of it?" Like that's a different approach than having you fill out a bunch of bullshit and then going, "Oh, by the way, it's going to cost this much."
Yeah. See, the problem is that you got these photographers out there that are new to the game, or are so hungry to get published in something. So they will see it as, "Oh, wow, I'm in Southern, whatever magazine. I only had to pay $600. That's amazing."
You already said the name. You can say it again.
Yeah, Southern Bride Magazine. Nonsense.
No, but I know what you're saying. And then I think also part of it is ego. Because a lot of people, even if it doesn't get you any business, you feel prestigious that you were in a fucking magazine. Who cares? Like, if that makes you feel better that you paid money to be in a magazine that gave you no business, just to say that you were in a magazine, dude, you got some soul searching to do, because who really gives a shit? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that, I don't understand that concept. Either it's bringing me business, or I don't know. I don't really see it just to stroke my own ego, to pay someone to put it in a thing. And literally you're giving them work to fill up their magazine, because without you, they don't have a magazine
that they sell and charge money for, and they get all the money.
Yeah, that just feels a little silly. But then there's, the market. Here's the fucked up thing, is that the market has told them that this is okay because people are paying for it. If people didn't pay for it, they would have no choice but to either A, lower the prices, or B, include people, for free, the photographer, and only good photographers, not just, whoever's willing to pay.
Yeah, well, they can eat a fat one. If y'all want to pay me to write an article on vendor meals at different venues around the state, I can do that for you.
Dude,
North Carolina.
You got to start doing that again. Rating vendor meals. Now, try not to shit on them too hard if you're tagging the venues.
Could you imagine if I would have taken a photo of this styrofoam takeaway foldable plate with that lone chicken tender,
now
macaroni and hush puppies? I would have hashtagged get fucked and tagged the venue.
We haven't had terrible vendor meals, to be honest. Most places that we've been, last week with that wedding with the FBI, crew that we couldn't post, because I know her. She also is a planner at that venue, actually, and she asked us, what we wanted for dinner. And I told her, I'm like, listen, if they're going to charge you more for steaks, like we'll take, vendor meals and something else. Don't worry about it. And she goes, you guys want steaks? We'll hook you up with steaks. Dude, easily the best steak I've had in a long ass time. And all of us, like all my photographers, they got the same. Now we felt very appreciated. Like that was a hell of a meal. So, I can see the happiness with it, I don't expect it, but when it's there, I'm like, this is wonderful.
I love when a couple, like a bride and groom, will be like, oh no, you're eating what we're eating. And they're like forced that you get to eat good food. They'll say stuff like that. Like, no, you've worked all day. You're getting the best food that is here for it. And
I'll say this, man, like to really like, say this about our couples, I would say 95% of our couples always ask us, did you guys eat? Like they always are concerned in making sure that we've gotten the time to eat. And that, it's a very small gesture for them to ask, but it feels good that they actually give a shit that you're, getting something throughout a long day.
Yeah, because there's the opposite side of that where you're mid-eating and somebody comes by and says, cousin Jerry's over here breakdancing again. We need you to come out here and get this. And at that point, what did you lose your cool? See, you don't lose your cool. Would you ever just be like, well, tell cousin Jerry, tell cousin Jerry, he gonna have to do that. He got to do it again in 20 minutes after I finish eating.
Because I think also we always do the final timeline chat with our couples, like a week or two before the wedding. So somewhere in there, we're seeing where the gap is going to be where we can actually eat. And usually, if they have a planner, they know when that gap is. So they know that that's when we're going to eat. So they're not going to do that when there's table shots or when there's, dancing or whatever. Like usually we're eating before that anyway. So they'll kind of schedule it in an area where, we do have a break. Now, if something's happening, just like what you're saying, like it's a one-off, it doesn't happen often. So I'll tell the guys like, all right, you guys, keep eating. I'll be right back. And I'll go and shoot it. You know what I mean? Like, or if my second is like done eating because he went down in it real quick, then I'll be like, yo, can you go grab that? Because he's already done. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like whoever's eating, there's a respect of eating, but if everyone's eating, I'll go and take it.
What's Monkey doing?
I don't know. I think she's on the phone. I hear some noise up there. She just got in.
Is she up there talking to Mulan?
Moving on. All right. I think we have time for one more subject, and then we'll call it for this one. Actually, you know what? The last subject is what do you got going on this weekend?
Oh, I got a engagement shoot Saturday. Then I'm going to Clemson University. I got a senior shoot of a cheerleader, which I like doing those. And I always tell them, I'm like, we'll bring your boyfriend too, and we can get some fun shots of y'all as a couple, because I like getting inside the stadium and shooting. Mm-hmm. Like being in stadiums and stuff like that is just fun for me to be there. And those photos are always fun. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
What about you?
It's something that it's a different setting that you don't normally get, like especially when you're starting out with photography. Like you're not shooting in a stadium, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's cool. What do we got? Wedding on the 15th on Saturday, and that one is that interesting story with this venue. It used to be called something else, but during the lockdowns they shut down, and now they reopened under a different name. So I'm curious to see if they've changed anything or if it looks exactly the same and they just changed the name because it's under new ownership. So that's Saturday. It's a really nice place too. It's all like surrounded in greenery and stuff like that in Temecula.
Oh, nice.
So it'll be nice. And then on Sunday, we have an engagement session at Pasadena City Hall, which is this like historical, really classic looking building. I really like shooting there. And then a maternity session on the 17th, which is Monday, but we can talk about that. Well, actually, no, we won't, because I'll be back later that day. So that one's actually in LA, also at the how the fuck do you pronounce that word?
Arboretum.
There we go. Listen, English is my second language. I'm going to use that as an excuse right now. So
I don't want to bring up noses. I don't want to bring up noses again, but this thing looks like a bratwurst. Like I keep staring at like this part. Like with all the weight loss, this thing has stayed the same size. Like I might need to keep my face fat just so like it looks like a fucking bratwurst.
I'm gonna tell you this, dude. There are some people who, when they lose weight, they look older. because I feel like almost like the what's it called, the wrinkles come
Skeleton.
out. You know what I'm saying? Because before they were being filled in, it's basically like natural filler. But with you, I'm gonna say like you definitely look younger, you look better. Like you definitely,
God bless you.
yeah, dude. So let's keep that energy going.
No, we're gonna keep it going. I might go do another walk.
Yeah. Well, what time is it? Well, you just drank another Red Bull, so yeah, you have the energy for it.
Yeah, I might do it. Fuck it.
All right. Well,
All right, babies. That's another one in the books. We came back with a slapper on this one because the one on Tuesday was a bit of a gossip boys talking about anything and everything but photography. But we're gonna stay on our shit going forward. So we're not gonna be hitting y'all with any more stinkers.
yeah.
All right, babies. We'll see you next week.
Tuesday, right?
Tuesday.
Yep. All right. Everybody have a good weekend.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, Scott.